This is Total Warhead, and in this video, I want to showcase how to build the Archer Trickster hero in campaigns in a Total War Saga Troy. So the first thing I want to do is summarize what makes this guy so strong. So he can really boost up his overall damage output, specifically AP damage output, to become a very strong killing machine. Note that when you utilize Archer heroes in this game, and you use them for like shooting other heroes, you might be like, oh my god, I'm missing so many shots. What the heck? These guys are pointless to use. See, something that you gotta think about is what makes these guys extremely strong is that they have an attribute called Sharpshooter. This says that missile attacks from this unit will ignore any missile block chance provided by shields. So if you utilize this guy to shoot a highly armored, highly valuable unit of the enemy, you will notice that a single shot of this Archer hero's bow will actually kill maybe 4 to 6 unit models from a high value target, and you keep using them or him to shoot these high value targets, you'll notice that you'll be outputting a lot of DPS on these very strong units before they can even come into range of engagement. They can also shoot up heroes of the other army, but I prefer to more so focus on utilizing these guys to shoot units. And then if I see an opportunity where my accuracy will be pretty good and not miss hitting the heroes, then I decide to shoot the heroes per se. So what skills would I choose when selecting an AP damage build Archer Trickster, right? That can also boost missiles. So he can focus on a couple of things, starting with his first skill, or ability, which is called Flight of Artemis, which gives 50% more missile damage and 20% speed for himself for 45 seconds. But this is the very important part. This is a 50 rage cost for a hero. So you already got to take into account that the first skill you start out with costs 50 rage to utilize. That means that since he really won't be getting that many more skills that can help him boost up how much rage he gains in combat, you might want to actually hold off on selecting a lot of skills that have to take up a lot of rage utilization in battle, because you're going to potentially notice that you can't really select 2 or 3 skills that cost rage because you're running out of it. So just make sure that whatever you select is a good composition. So this is an example here of how I built this. So in the first level, I go for Centaur Drill, and specifically I want to go for the upgrade for increased reload speed, so I increase this hero's overall damage output because he's going to reload faster. I don't really care so much about him fire whilst moving, because he's going to be already immobile as he's in range of whatever he's shooting at when I start using this. I just want to make sure that I get the +10 to reload skill, so he basically starts outputting more damage before this really valuable unit comes into range of other units. Next, you might see this and you might go for always selecting Formation Specialist. I would say that this is not what you should do. So fatigue affects a lot of statistics of units. Once your stamina reaches very low levels, you're gonna notice that, or you might not notice this because the unit card does not actually update and showcase this, the missile damage of a missile unit actually decreases because its reload time gets affected when its stamina goes down. So it's a really steep penalty. So you're going to notice that there's going to be a seconds of difference between reloads of a fresh unit versus a fatigued unit. So I would say that it's really valuable to go for Ambassador of Hermes and the additional fatigue reduction, so you can keep these units very fresh for longer in combat, or higher stamina in combat, so their overall damage output is not affected that fast because their reload time will not be affected that fast. Additionally, fatigue units get penalties to speed, and you want your missile units to be able to adjust to rotate, right, to shoot other units pretty fast, and when their speed goes down, it slows down their overall DPS because they're not adjusting so fast to another unit to shoot it. Next, I would definitely go for increasing the overall ammunition of this hero, because I want to make sure that with the combination of Centaur Drill, which increases his overall reload skill, meaning he'll utilize more ammunition, I give him more overall ammunition for combat. Now, I don't necessarily want to go for the range upgrade. I more so want to go for the ammunition upgrade, so he actually has enough ammunition to actually not run out of it during the battle, because the reload skill will actually affect them. If you do build an army that takes out units pretty fast, then go all the way for the Way of Artemis range, which does cause a 15% penalty to reload skill, which if you see this, it really lowers your overall missile damage output greatly. But if you feel like you want to get more range to shoot stuff from far away, and the enemies won't really engage you by the time they come into melee range, then okay, go for this then. So your hero actually starts shooting at a longer distance and helps take out things at a longer range before they reach any of your units in your army. So next, Disciplinarian, you go for it if you want to go for raiding, right? If you want to raid, go for Disciplinarian. And if you want to go for raiding, then instead of going for recovery upgrade of Ambassador of Hermes, go for the starting cap upgrade so you're always fresh. I don't really raid that much, so instead I would go for Stalwart and then the line of sight and resistance upgrade so the army gets more line of sight, which is extremely valuable in the campaign. Next, I want to keep upgrading my overall missile units in my army, so let me upgrade their missile damage with the Prayer to Apollo. Note that this upgrade of experience does not become very valuable if you recruit all of these missile units at 9 chevrons, so this becomes redundant. I would say that, you will notice that you can recruit missile units at really high rank, given the change to the Boyer building in the Mythos patch. That also increases unit recruit rank, so it just, overall, this can become something redundant when you come very experienced in the game. So I would say when you get to the final level, which is 27 of the hero, then you can waste that final point on this skill. But then if you really don't got missile units at really high rank, then okay, go for this earlier. But don't really think of this as a high priority if you get very experienced and know how to recruit these units at 9 chevrons. Next, you want to go for In Hades Shadow, because if you get into range of a very valuable unit that you want to keep shooting, but your hero is potentially in range of like javelins or another archer hero, you can give him snipe, so he's no longer visible and he's only spotted at very close range, so he can therefore keep shooting without being hit to his overall HP. And I think this is an extremely valuable and underrated skill, especially if you pop it as you're coming to engage the army, so you get to a very opportune position to shoot a very high value unit and nothing is shooting or noticing where your hero is, so they essentially don't go to him since he's completely ignored. Next, I will go for here for a Master Ambusher, because you want to increase your ambush chances as much as possible, since alert, it becomes redundant once you get all heroes at max rank. So go for Master Ambusher, and then I will certainly go for the upgrade for melee and charge, so you boost up the overall statistics of your frontline units to become better offensive units. And also getting more bonus statistics for your units in ambush helps with auto resolve. Following that, I would keep boosting up the statistics of the missile units by helping them gain more range. Now, if you play in a faction that does not have great overall like missile units, then I would say go for Prayer to Ares here, and instead of going for Prayer to Apollo that I mentioned above, go for Prayer of Athena. So this hero can both work for boosting up missile units, or completely change him to actually help out on overall melee based factions such as Argos Diomedes. Actually, I don't think you can recruit archer heroes. Actually, I can't remember that. Wait, I am playing Argos here. But this campaign was started before Mythos. Oh my goodness, what a mess. Maybe you can't recruit archer heroes as Argos, but the point here is that you can focus this hero for missile units or for a overall high DPS army. Continuing, you can give him stock and Vanguard deployment, but I would more so prefer to keep boosting up his overall DPS, since I want him to take high value units. Some of these high value units, like Champions of Troy, have very high armor, so I can further increase his overall damage output with even more AP damage. He can get a total of plus 40 AP damage with the heavy bow skill. After that, I want to boost up the overall speed of all my units in the army, and then after that, get more speed for siege battles, because you really want to make sure that you don't stay in range of the towers that much. You climb the walls faster. Actually, you just get closer to the walls, that's it. So definitely Chosen of Hermes is really valuable. Now, if you want to build a light infantry focus army that you really wanted to focus on overall DPS output, say we want to build like a Drinkers of Venom army with this hero, then you definitely would want to go for Covered by Hades light infantry instead, so all your Drinkers of Venom can deploy on top of the enemy and just use this guy for keeping up his overall DPS output. But since I really want to focus this guy for missile units, I really want to help boost up their overall battle speed. And if you really don't have light missile infantry units, some of the elite missile units in the game tend to be medium weight, then this becomes redundant to acquire. Therefore, not really valuable to get. I would just say to go for these upgrades over here for overall speed. Fine, or almost finally, we got 3 more to go. So here I would go for inspired aim, and then I would go for the rage cost reduction, so I can further increase his overall damage output both in missile and AP missile by 40%. And this will help me this will actually be my second ability that utilizes rage, and it uses a pretty good value of 5. So overall, really good skill to overall keep outputting even more damage as possible, as I have already boosted up his overall damage output with the skills I've selected before. And then we go for combat mastery to reduce the overall cooldown of activated abilities and rage cost, so I can have a higher, I can have in Hades Shadow, what is this one, Flight of Artemis and Centaur Drill activated, or reduce their overall cooldown time, so I can activate them more often in the battle, so I can overall increase his reload skill by 10 more so than not, and then also boost up his missile damage output, his speed, and give him snipe if I want to get him into a very critical location. Then the final one is up to preference. I don't like to change my stances that much in the campaign. It's just a lot of little micro stuff. When you start getting to the late game, it's like 20 armies, and say you got a bunch of them that got this stance, Shadow. This is a pretty powerful stance, don't get me wrong. This means that the ambush chance effects that you get are applied to this new stance, and this is like when you play Skaven, that you can ambush an army that you attack when you just do basically a right click to attack it. It's extremely powerful to use this, and you cannot understate this, especially when you combine it with Master Ambusher and the charge and melee attack bonuses that this upgrade gives. This is extremely powerful to get. I would say go for this if you want to change to this stance. I'm kind of lazy, so I don't really go for this. And for the upgrade, I would definitely say that you should go for the speed to give your units even more battle speed during ambushes, so you get on top of the enemy, flank them, prevent them from adjusting as much as possible. Note that replenishment is extremely strong to get, but I never actually utilized it, so I can't tell you how conditional it is, or if it's something that you could really use throughout the campaign as you step through many enemy territories. In my viewpoint, thinking about it right now, I spend a lot of time in my own local regions and 1 turn or less on enemy territory, because when I push into enemy territory, I just want to make sure that I grab the settlement ASAP. So I think this is really valuable if you don't really play like that, but how I play, this appears to be redundant, and I would go for the speed upgrade. Now, what I normally select out of these two is Veil of Nyx, so I can do night battles, which is like Lightning Strike, which everybody knows how strong this is, and this also applies a -5 morale to the enemy that is attacked in a night battle, which is a pretty big penalty. And then aside from that, I also get more ammunition for friendly units, since I tend to build armies with a lot of missile units with this hero. So that is everything I wanted to showcase here. I really want to thank you for watching, and I sincerely hope to see you on the next one. Bye bye.